Hi everyone, welcome to the video. We're on the beautiful Dutch coast today. I thought I'd get a bit of sunshine. It's just disappeared behind some clouds, but I'm sure it'll come back. Anyway, let's talk about the month of January 2022 for my microstock earnings. And to be honest, I have to say that my earnings really tanked in January. So let's get into it and I'll tell you all about it. Okay, let's get into the small fish agencies to begin with, and I'll clump them all together because individually the earnings of each agency is pretty sad. So just to save time, I'll put them all together. They are IEM, Big Stock, Deposit Photos, 123RF and Dreams Time. So I have a number of assets on each of those agencies and they range from about 300, say for IEM, where about 126 of those are distributed amongst partner agencies, and I have about 2,200 assets, mostly images, on Dreams Time, just to give you an idea of what the balance is of each portfolio for that lot. There are a couple of highlights. One of the highlights was of a Dutch electric train that's running through a nature reserve called the Oostvaardersplassen, and I just got up above the train tracks on a bank and took the photo as the train was passing. That was an editorial photo, and that sold for $2 on Dreams Time. With the lowlights, I really have to mention IEM for this one. I sold 5 assets on IEM in January, but all of those were of a single photo, and that was of a mustard pot. And the last 14 photos that I've sold on IEM are all that same photo. So yeah, it's quite disappointing to see that none of my other photos in my portfolio on IEM seem to be getting exposure to the clients. It could be something to do with the search engine with the keywords, or I'm not really sure what it is, but I've heard a few stock photographers complain about that. It's definitely an issue with my portfolio. All up for those small agencies, I earned $8.06 in January. And now to Adobe Stock, which was a pretty disappointing month for January. I had 10 downloads for my portfolio, which consists of 43 videos and 1,089 images. A couple of the highlights were one commercial image of a wild horse like rising up on its hind legs, and that actually was a sort of a photoshopped photo that I created from another photo, and the original photo was of actually that horse rising up on its hind legs, and there was also another smaller horse next to it. And for this image I removed that smaller horse from the photo just so the balance of the composition was better, and people or customers could put like text on the photo where the other horse used to be, and it seemed to have worked out. That photo sold for $2.20. I sold more commercial photos which were kind of still life photos and mostly on white backgrounds. One was a collection of colour pencils, a really simple composition and pretty basic bread and butter shot for stock photography, and that photo sold for 99 cents. I also sold a couple of these tiny little batteries on a white background, and that sold for 99 cents as well. It was a commercial shot too. In total for Adobe Stock for the month of January, I made $7.65. Now we get on to another agency, Getty iStock, and January I really bombed for this agency. I think it's my lowest earnings for at least 3 years. Probably since I first started uploading to that agency. I have probably about 1,300 to 1,500 images there, and about 100 videos. But for December, because iStock Getty always give you the earnings for the month previous to the one you're in now, for December I had about 12 downloads, but I only made $3.35, and there were no highlights. Okay, the disappointment continues. Let's go to Pond 5. With Pond 5, I only upload videos now to that agency, and there's a couple of hundred videos uploaded there now. For the month of January, I did not sell a single video, so there was a big fat zero for Pond 5 in January. With the stock agency Alamy now, and the results were a little less disappointing than Pond 5. I made 2 sales. One was of a photo that I made with the Canon RP mirrorless body or camera, and that was combined with the super zoom lens, the Canon 24mm to 240mm super zoom. And I got up really early before sunrise one morning, and I photoed the sun rising over the silhouette of the Hague skyline. And the video was about whether this Canon RP mirrorless camera combined with this super zoom lens, which is not a professional lens, and whether that combination was good enough to create photos that sell on the micro stock agencies. So Alamy had that photo sell on its agency for $3.26. So that's a pretty resounding yes, that camera combination is good enough for stock photography, in my view. Another photo I sold was when I was first doing stock photography years ago, and I was walking around Amsterdam just wondering what to photograph, and I saw a young American tourist with his girlfriend sitting on a canal in Amsterdam, and they were both smoking a doobie or a cannabis joint. And I went up to them and just asked if I could photograph his hand with the canal in the background holding this cannabis joint. And he agreed to that, and the photo sold for $3.26 on Alamy in January. So in total for Alamy, I made $6.52 for the month of January. Okay, let's get on to my most successful agency for January, and that's Shutterstock. It was a very Jekyll and Hyde month for Shutterstock, I have to say. I sold, well, let's get into the portfolio first. I've got 2,299 images for the agency Shutterstock, and 135 videos on my agency. And in January I had 49 downloads. I think in amongst that 49 downloads I had 3 video sales, but in total those video sales only came to about 75 cents, which is disappointing. But that's not the biggest disappointment with Shutterstock. Of course, we all know that they dropped their commission rates back down to level 1 at the start of the year, and that of course has had a huge impact on my portfolio sales for January. So the bulk of my sales were photos, and of course the rates for those were very low. Most of them were subscriptions. I had some singles. I think the most I sold a photo for was $1.26, except for one photo, which I'll talk about in a minute. So as regarding highlights, there was only one highlight for Shutterstock, and that was a bit of a jaw dropper as well. It was of a VW Volkswagen Combi that I took about 4 years ago at a classic car show at Scheveningen one year. And someone bought that image that paid out $300 in the month of January. It's I've got mixed feelings about it because it's a bit strange. Back in November of 2020, I sold that very same image again, this time for $600. So someone really likes that photo. But I did some Google searches to see, you know, which country the image was bought in or where it was published or used, and I couldn't find anywhere where that photo had been published. And when I went into the analytics of Shutterstock, it also there was a blank spot where it showed which country the photo was purchased in. So whoever bought that photo, thank you very much, it's much appreciated. But the overall performance of Shutterstock in January, if that photo hadn't have been bought, would have been very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Very disappointing.
So in total for Shutterstock in January, I made $312. So my total earnings, if I hadn't sold that VW Combi photo, would have been just $12 and some change, which is very disappointing. I totally tanked with that, I have to say. And it was only probably luck that saves my bottom line for January. Okay, let's talk about the total amount I earned for January with microstock, video and photos. But before I do that, if anything in this video was helpful or useful to you, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and that will really help my YouTube algorithm. Thank you for that. Okay, so the total amount I made in January for 2022 out of microstock was $337.52. I think the reduction of commission rates for Shutterstock down to level 1 had an impact on that, but I also think January is just a slow month for me. I saw that in the rest of the agency, so the blame can't be solely put on Shutterstock. It can also be just a slow month overall. So I'll put it down to experience. The previous 3 months I did show growth in my earnings, so I'll just consider it a blip on the map, and hopefully next month we'll be doing a lot better. Anyway guys, let me know how your January was. Was it a bomb like mine, or did you tank like I did? Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. Look after yourselves. Bye.